Well, as memory serves, winning does feel a lot better than losing. And tonight is a good night for Carolina, finally. For the first time since the victory over Kentucky, Carolina gets a 51 to 7 win over Coastal Carolina, improving the record to 4 and 7 on the year, with one game looming now. But kind of just to recap this game, it was a good showing from the onset. The very first play from scrimmage, it was a Sellers to Sellers play, and Lenoris to Jaden, 75 yards for a touchdown. And from there on, the route was on, and it just was good to see a lot that took place tonight. There was a lot of creativity. There was a lot of mixing and meshing, I guess you could say, with the offense. So it was good overall, I would say. Obviously, nothing is going to erase what happened last week in College Station, but at the same time, you feel a little bit better because you finally put up good numbers for a change. We talked about this earlier tonight that this is the kind of win you needed to have early in the year, like against South Carolina State, instead of the type of win that ended up happening, which was just a game that the offense looked like it was bogged down from the get-go, a game where just so many things just never got going, whereas tonight things did get going. Again, from the word go, it was an onslaught, and it was good to see that for a lot of reasons, just simply because of how bad Carolina has struggled. We talked about this earlier tonight as well. Today is really the day you see the difference between Mike Shula and Mike Furry calling plays. Again, going back to the South Carolina State game, the offense looked like it was completely bogged down from the get-go. Tonight, the offense looked like it was in rhythm. Plays were being made. Guys were playing to their assignments. Everything was going good tonight. And Carolina comes away with a 51 to 7 win over the Chanticleers. Just initially, what are some of your thoughts coming out of this game?
I couldn't have said that opening monologue any better myself. Tonight's game was what I expected against. And y'all got to forgive me, my voice is a little scratchier than usual, and it's always pretty deep. But this game went tonight the way the South Carolina State game should have went, just as John said. This was inferior talent against SEC talent on display tonight. And we're not throwing a parade over beating USC Conway, like I like to call them. But we played about as good of a football game as you could have played tonight. About the most complete game you've seen all year, sans the punt block where one person just decided not to pick up their assignment. But nonetheless, if that's the one thing you have to complain about, it's a good night at the ballpark. Like what I saw with the variations of offense, seeing some plays we've never seen before, and I'm trying not to fall into the trap because I saw Brian McClendon, then I saw Mike Shula, even though Mike Shula's bowl game sucked. But I'm trying hard not to fall into that trap of wanting a third interim OC to be promoted. But man, Mike Furry has given us a lot to think about over a small sample size. And I think a good game next weekend, you might have to revisit the hot board at OC, not to get ahead of ourselves here. But I like the offense. We saw a lot of motion, a lot of window dressing we haven't seen all year. A lot of variation in the formations. I thought the Brady Hunt play at the goal line was just genius, as opposed to us going shotgun, running inside zone with Mike Shula, which was the most just hackneyed, boring thing you could ever see and predictable. But the offense tonight was creative. The defense was absolutely dominant. And anytime Coastal got a little momentum with a drive, we stalled it. We either got a turnover or forced them into, I think they tried a 59 or 60-yard field goal. I live 15 minutes away from Coastal. I've seen their kicker. I don't know his name, not disrespect the young man. He's got a leg, and that had distance. But just putting them in that position of having to kick a 59, 60-yard field goal, most people that can make that kick, they're playing on Sundays. So just taking them, putting them behind the sticks on defense was big. Getting stops on first down was tremendous. Seeing 1-2 yard runs and getting stuffed.
Felipe LaForge, by the way, I believe is his name.
Felipe, you're a good kicker, my dude. I watched you play against Marshall, and you got a great leg, my guy. If you want to jump in the portal, we'll take you next year. We need a kicker. But I'm not saying I disrespect William Joyce. He literally graduates. So.
By the way, to add to your point about the Brady Hunt play under center, that also protects Lenora Sellers from getting hurt in a situation like that against a team like Coastal Carolina. Not that you want to get Lenora Sellers hurt, but you certainly don't want him to get hurt leading into this pivotal rivalry game against the upstate school.
We couldn't pick up a 4th and 1 in multiple circumstances under Mike Shula. Mike Furry in 2 weeks installs that play, and we're running it to perfection.
And I don't know if you run that last week against A&M in that 4th and 1 situation, which I said was one of the plays of the key moments of the game last week. I don't know if you run it there or not, but again, it's good to run that at the goal line for sure, just simply because you need just 1 yard. Everybody knows what's coming. That is a good play, whereas an open space and in the open field, you might not run that.
Well, also, the level of competition is obviously noticeable.
Mm-hmm.
Playing not just a good SC team, but the number 3 team in the country, who absolutely stacked at every position. Marcel Reed's one of the best quarterbacks in the country, consistently week in, week out. That defensive line at Texas A&M, I mean, they could stop anything. I mean, they could line up with Ohio State. Call me crazy if you want. They could line up with Ohio State. They could line up with anybody and play with them. That's a talented football team.
Yeah, agreed.
And I'm not excusing the loss. The loss is unacceptable, and we agree on that, especially being up as much as we were. But I just like seeing something different. I like seeing a plan on offense, a concise plan, and something different. Even when Dow Loggins was here, I was no staunch Dow Loggins fan, but I appreciate the fact that he was an NFL guy that adapted his scheme and he learned the college game. And hearing his, not to get off topic, but hearing his press conference where he explained the difference in the hashes between the NFL and the college, I thought that was enlightening. I didn't even know that until I heard his I think it was his introductory press conference. But just getting back to it, it's like sometimes our plays, not sometimes, most of the time, our plays were so predictable under Shula. And we'll get to this again later. I like to jump ahead. It's kind of how I teach when I teach in school. But we've talked about this with Shula. Is after the Vanderbilt game, this is my opinion, after the Vanderbilt game, when it was 14-7 at halftime and our breakdown gets Lenoris hurt, that was when the move should have been made, in my opinion, for not just Lonnie Teasley, but also Mike Shula, because seeing the last 2 games as a small sample size, I would have loved to have seen how differently some of our one-possession games, like take the Alabama game, for example, how differently does that game go? We win that game, and we're playing for bowl eligibility next week.
Or look at some of the other games. I mean, look at the LSU game. Look at the Oklahoma game. By the way, those are the 2 games, to me. The LSU game was when I began to think Mike Shula probably is not coming back next season. The Oklahoma game is where I started to think Mike Shula needs to be relieved now. And it happened after the Ole Miss game. Again, another game there you might want to throw out there. What might have been. And that, unfortunately, is going to be probably what the 2025 South Carolina football season is going to be remembered for. A year of what could have been if Mike Furry is given that play calling duty in the time between the rivalry game and the Citrus Bowl last year. Again, it makes sense because Shula has been a play caller and a head coach in the SEC before, but at the same time, you hate saying this, but just not enough vetting had been done, and not really enough of what Mike Shula was bringing to the table, what you were going to actually get out of him, and what you were going to get out of this team and this offense. And clearly it did not even come close to living up to the expectation that we had for this season. And that's why South Carolina is not even going to be in the postseason this year. I think that if things are a little bit different, maybe it's a much different story. Certainly, I think we're talking about a bowl team because, again, and we've talked about this ad nauseum. How many times this season have we gone into a game and said, if South Carolina plays its best game, we are going to win? And then just how many times have we said, I just want to see us play our best game? We finally saw it tonight, and what do you know? South Carolina puts up 50 points, which is tonight. Tonight was the most output that Carolina had put up since the Wofford game last year, and that was eclipsed in the first half when Carolina put up, I believe, 30 at halftime. So that kind of tells you where things are and where things have been this season. The offense had not put up more than 23 points in a game until tonight. Let me look at the yardage total here tonight. It was, again, you have to take it with a grain of salt because it's Coastal, but at the same time, though, you like having something good to talk about as opposed to what it's primarily been this entire season. Yeah, finally, 579 total yards for Carolina. Again, it's Coastal. You don't want to act like you don't want to be the guy that jumps up on the tailgate of the truck and yell out, "Oh, we are so back, baby." No. Pump the brakes. Again, it's still just Coastal. But I think we were joking in the first quarter. We were saying to each other, well, if Shula had been the play caller in this situation, it's probably, instead of 20-0, it's probably just 6-0 Carolina on 2 field goals. So, again, it's one of those where you're kind of beating a dead horse, but at the same time, you're just venting a little bit because it has been a frustrating season, and it has been a year, as we just touched on. It's going to be a year that is remembered mostly for what could have been, because you look at what happened in the first half of last week's game, and then you look at the overall game today. This team is now playing under Mike Furry's play calling. It's night and day from what it was under Shula, and it just is nothing short of absolutely frustrating. But let's just go ahead and get through some more stats. And again, right here, these stats I'm pulling up right here with Lenora Sellers. 16 of 20, 2 touchdowns. 8 carries, 2 touchdowns. Let me get back to the, because now I'm on the box score. Let me get back to the box score. So Lenora Sellers, 16 of 20, 274 yards, 2 touchdowns, 8 carries, 82 yards, 2 touchdowns. You got to like what you saw tonight from Sellers. He looked comfortable. Grant, he had a clean pocket for the most part. He got away from pressure. It looked like he sensed the pressure a little bit better. He looked more comfortable tonight than he had all season.
Love seeing the rotation in the running back room, Howell getting the start. That was well deserved. One of those head scratchers where I don't know what Coach Blackwell was thinking with that. He gets 3 carries for 30 yards.
Ironically enough, he only had 3 carries tonight.
Really?
18 yards.
And they started him. But I get that. I mean, Rasul Faison had a nice game, couple explosive runs, to my knowledge.
Yeah.
Matt Fuller, I think, had the lion's share of carries, right? Was he the leading rusher, like as far as carries?
Yes, 8 carries for 63 yards.
Mm-hmm. Good night.
Yes, Faison, 5 carries for 57 yards.
And he got, probably 43 of those on 2 runs?
Yeah, he had 2 big runs late in the game tonight. Yeah. Howell did have 2 receptions for 52 yards. So
yeah, I didn't realize that slip screen went for a lot of yards.
Yes, so
that's what it's... I mean, that's still a good 75, 80 total yards.
Mm-hmm.
And his first career start at South Carolina, by the way.
Yeah, 10 different guys caught the ball tonight, including, I believe, 2 running backs, so you like mixing it up like that. Hopefully, if you're able to get a full rotation next week, you're going to have a lot of targets next week for a lot of different guys as well. And by the way, we haven't even touched on this yet. Neither Nick Harbor nor Dylan Stewart suited up tonight, which, again, against a team like Coastal, if you need them to win this game, I mean absolutely need them in a nail-biter, then you've got some serious issues that you need to work on. Fortunately, that wasn't the case. I think the plan there, obviously, Harbor went to the hospital last week after the game. Stewart, I've heard, has had a lingering back issue. So I think the plan, just simply play it safe, keep them out of harm's way tonight, have them back ready as full go as they possibly can be for the rivalry game.
What I love about the future of this team, from the offensive standpoint, you gotta love what you see out of the wide receiver room and the running back room. There's a lot of good youth there. I see a real opportunity with Howell and Fuller at running back. At receiver, you just name them. They're all coming back.
Theoretically, anyway.
I haven't heard anything saying Nick Harbor isn't coming back. We haven't confirmed that he is, but
nothing. And by the way, with 2 weeks before the season ends, anything can happen, of course. But if you're able to retain all of, if not the majority of that wide receiver room, you still have a very deep room. The biggest plays made by receivers tonight, Jaden Sellers, Donovan Murph. Even if you lose Nick Harbor next year, which we're not saying anything one way or the other.
Yes.
But if you go into a season next year, you feel comfortable with these guys, even if they're behind Harbor, you're very comfortable with this. Brian Rowe had kind of a quiet night, kind of surprising to tell you the truth on that.
He also got pulled down in the end zone when he had a wide open touchdown.
Yeah.
So there's that.
He's
a good young player.
Mazio Bennett even had 2 catches for 8 yards tonight, so glad to see that happen.
I hope he sticks with us, man. I know he hasn't gotten the touches. And sorry to interrupt you. I know he hasn't gotten the touches he wanted this year, but I hope Mazio sticks with us. I love what I've seen with Jaden Sellers. Obviously, he's got a rapport with his brother. We've obviously stated Nick Harbor. A guy we didn't even mention was Dre Jacobs. Did he even play tonight?
I think I saw him on the field, but he didn't have. I don't know if he had a target. I don't even think he had a target tonight. It seemed
like the game plan was get the freshman involved, because the game plan seemed to center around Sellers and Murph tonight predominantly, and we tried to get Rowe in there. Like I said, Coastal's defensive backs seemed to love to arm wrestle with him every time we threw him a pass. But.
Yeah. Even Mike Tyler had a reception tonight.
The freshman TE from Hammond.
Yep.
Excited to see what he can do.
Malik Clark had a reception tonight for 9 yards. So you like seeing, again, kind of this game you could almost call the youth movement, if you will, because just so many of these young players, especially these young receivers, were really getting into the action tonight. Jaden Sellers, the opening play, 75 yards, touchdown. That's the type of play you really want to, not saying you go for that every week, but in a game where you really need to flush the week before and put it behind you, that's the best way to start a game, is just to have, a one play, 75-yard drive that results in a touchdown. And, Carolina did something tonight that Carolina hasn't really done at all season, score in the red zone, which was very refreshing to see. Again, the competition is not what you're going to see next week, but still, it was an issue against SC State. It was an issue against Virginia Tech. So it's good to see that Carolina was able to put some things together. That touchdown that Donovan Murph had in the back corner of the end zone was a thing of beauty from not just him, but also Lenora Sellers as well. Anything in that area of the red zone stand out to you?
In the red zone?
Yeah.
We were a lot more efficient.
Yes.
A lot more aggressive. again, just stancing our formations and just trying new things out. Some, like I said earlier, new motion, a lot of motion. The Shula offense just, and I know we've beaten it to death, but it's like the lack of window dressing, the lack of motion, the lack of any variation in the formations, and when the 300-pound dude eating the bag of potato chips on the couch is like, hey, they're running up the middle, that's a problem. And being able to see Mike Furry's ability to read the defense and read the field, and I don't know if that comes from his playing experience in NFL or where that comes from, but he's got a good knack for that. And again, I'm not on Mike Furry's payroll. I'm not vouching for him publicly for the OC job. I'm just saying that he deserves a lot of respect, and he should be commended for the job he's done in a short period of time. And what we've done in the red zone is we've been more efficient. We're scoring touchdowns instead of field goals.
Tonight, anyway.
And quite frankly, the last couple of weeks, we've moved the ball. And one thing I've noticed with the new offense is explosive plays, man. I mean, we hit an 80-yard touchdown to Nick Harbor last week. First play of the game, we hit the 75-yard sellers to sellers. And
don't forget the 50-yarder to Dre Jacobs last week as well.
Yeah. I mean, I would say, like, we haven't been in the red zone enough this year, but at least recently it's been because we've been hitting explosive plays we've scored on. And you're not going to be in the red zone if you're scoring 50 to 80-yard touchdowns.
Obviously, no.
So that's okay. That's excusable.
Yeah.
When your offense is struggling to cross the 50, that's when you have a problem.
Yeah, and kind of to put a finger on that, one thing that was evident in the difference in play calling, remember, toward the end of the half, with, I think, 12 seconds left, Carolina is behind the 50. Carolina is in its own territory, and instead of taking a knee, we push downfield, get a completion to Donovan Murph. We're in field goal range, and we're able to get points there. Something you probably wouldn't see under Shula for a couple of reasons. One, in that situation, Shula probably just runs the ball to run the clock out. And two, it's a play creative enough that it opens up. And three, Lenoris hit it perfectly. Something that just was not happening under Shula. I think that a lot of Lenoris's problems this year do stem from the play caller, who also was the offensive coordinator and the quarterback's coach. I think, and a lot of people have said that it's in the same spot, the program is in the same spot at this point under Shane that it was close to this point, because at this point, Will had already been fired, but everyone says they're the same guy. I know you and I differ in this opinion, but again, I think the difference here is that it's the offensive coordinator. Whereas with Will, it was a laundry list of issues. Here, I think you get the right offensive coordinator, especially for the talent that will be back next season. I think you can have, I don't know if you can have a college football playoff team, but I think you're going to have a team that people here around will be happy with and will say, okay, we're moving in the right direction again.
Will Muschamp was actually a defensive coordinator away. He finally found the right offensive coordinator, but it was too little too late, and that was Mike Bobo.
And I think also, not only that, but a strength coach, he brought in the one from...
Oh, God, Jeff Dillman, don't get me started.
Yeah, he had Dillman at Florida. He brought Dillman here, and he finally, after the 2019 season, fired Jeff Dillman. But again, too little, too late, and COVID happened, and it was just, a you-know-what show. But that being said, Luke Day has been nothing but a breath of fresh air and somebody that I hope is around here for a very long time.
Luke Day is a true strength coach. And Luke Day, here's a guy that I just pulled a Chris Cosworth. Oh, my God, I didn't even plan that. But this dude, he was like, what we're doing is not working. He completely reinvented his approach 2 years ago, and that was when you saw the 9-4 season. And we haven't lost ball games this year because of strength and conditioning or the nutrition staff. I think our guys are in good shape, and it's apparent when they line up against a Sun Belt team. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to reveal the source, but I can tell you guys, Jeff Dillman, when he was the strength coach here, he took Scott Cochran's Alabama strength playbook, and this is a true story. He took it and slapped the block C over the, basically he took the cursive A off and slapped the block C over it. So that's how original that guy was. And just look at them, not to slam his looks, but look at them physically. Like, who would you rather have coaching your kid? Like, Luke Day looks like he could rip someone's head off, and he's in great shape. And Jeff Dillman looked like he was out of breath on the sideline. So you tell me.
Yeah, and just, again, neither here nor there. It's just trying to say that it's the exact same situation that Shane's predecessor was in, I think would be inaccurate. But, again, that's just me. A lot of people have said otherwise, and that's fine. Everyone's got their opinion. But going forward, though, it just feels like things are a little bit. It was just, again, tonight, it's not going to forgive this season, and it's certainly not going to move the needle any way, shape, or form. I fully agree that regardless of what happens, I think Shane is back next year, but I certainly think he's under the microscope and is on the hot seat. I don't think anybody would disagree with that right now, but I think what they showed tonight is that there is good talent on this team, and that with the right play caller and with the right strategy going forward, if you will, with the right playbook, basically is what I'm trying to say, next season could be a very good one, provided you have the right talent back, of course. Again, with the portal, anything can happen, but from what we have been hearing, it seems like the bulk of what makes this offense capable of going is going to be back. So that's what gives me confidence about this going forward next season.
I want to see what happens in the offseason before I react one way or the other. Next week, let's make no mistake about it. I agree with you. I do think the most likelihood of occurrence is Shane Beamer is back with not breaking any news here with a new offensive coordinator, or prior offensive coordinator, and an offensive line coach. But there has to be, I told you this earlier when we went to rushes today, there has to be a concise plan and a plan that Jeremiah Donati can believe in. Because you were correct in that Shane Beamer is 100% on the hot seat next year. I'm just going to put it out there, and I hope and pray it doesn't happen. But and a loss, and especially an ugly loss next week, and we might have a real mess on our hands, either a walking dead coach or a situation where we're either scrambling in the portal or we're scrambling to find a head coach, and we hope we don't come to that. We hope we can fix this. The plan has to be hire the best offensive coordinator available for our personnel and what we want to do. We definitely need to ditch the pro style. I'm sorry if you're a big pro style fan, it's not working here. And even if you look at Dow Loggins, who was a quote pro style guy, he changed his offense into a college ready offense and did things we've never seen before, like shovel passes and lots of RPO and even some triple option action. And you've got to be willing to open up the playbook. And what works at the University of Georgia is not necessarily going to work at the University of South Carolina. We have great personnel. They have elite personnel. We can't run the same scheme as Ohio State. We're not Ohio State.
And I'm sorry to cut you off, but
go right ahead.
What you might think would work at Alabama wouldn't work here either.
Correct.
But also, what didn't work at Alabama certainly didn't work here either.
Facts.
Yeah. Don't forget last year when we were leaving Bryant-Denny Stadium, James and I went to that game. After the ball game, we just started a conversation up with a couple of guys that were around our age, and we talked about how when we were in college, we had a great time because We were there when Steve Spurrier was there, and this guy, no lie, told us, and it made us laugh almost hysterically. He said, "Well, my college experience was ruined by Mike Shula." We started laughing, and we were like, he's on our staff as an analyst, and that guy kind of just gave us a look of like, it wasn't the 1,000-yard stare, but it was definitely one of those, you don't really want to know what I know kind of looks, basically, is what we ended up getting from this guy. It's funny looking back on it now, but looking back also, we fully understand what this guy meant.
He was prophetic. Like,
yes.
And here's the thing. The guy we talked to, his high school football coach was none other than former Gamecock quarterback Chris Snelly.
Yeah.
Believe that or not. He did tell us that too. And I'm like, man, I thought this was like some dude that was just in his feelings, like he had some beer flowing through him. And I kind of discredited him, and I'm looking back, I'm like, man, I should have given this dude a little more credence. Like, he knew ball.
Yeah. And again, I think we've probably talked a little too much about Shula tonight.
We're done with you, Shula. Go away.
Don't worry, he's not coming back.
Don't call me Shoeless. You're Shoeless.
Oh, boy. South Park reference. But anyway, all right, so good win. And another good thing about tonight, no injuries, or at least seemingly no injuries, so gotta like that going into the Thanksgiving weekend, where we will meet our friends from the upstate. The annual Palmetto Bowl between two rivals that, regardless of the record, do not like one another. And this year is no different. So, obviously, Carolina, this is basically the de facto bowl game right now because we've obviously been eliminated from postseason play. So you just got to hope that you can go out there again next weekend, play your best game, and see if you can come out on top like last year.
Again, this is a team that I do think they can fix this. And I've made my feelings known. I'm not going to come on here and crap on our sitting head coach because that serves no good purpose whatsoever. I will say that I'm pulling for him. I want him to turn it around, and I want him to be the guy that fixes it, regardless of who's here. When Will Muschamp was here, I wanted him to work out. When Lou Holtz was here, when Steve Spurrier was here, when Brad Scott was here. Ultimately, all those tenures came to an end, either by their choice or by ours. But what Shane Beamer needs to do, first of all, he needs to make the right hired offensive coordinator. You and I talked about this earlier. He needs to give full autonomy to his OC to say, who do you want here? Who do you want to hire? And if he wants to keep Mike Furry and Sean Elliott, you absolutely keep them because they've both done a good enough job to stay here in some capacity. But if he wants his own guys, I think you got to give him that because this is Shane's last stand. And it's one of those last stands where he could come out on top and he could be the best coach of school history here. And it could be the opposite. It could be, well, he's just the special teams version of Will Muschamp. So in reality, it's probably somewhere in the middle of those two. We'll find out. I hope it's the end where he's the best to ever be here because I want what's best for our football program and for our university. But I do think we can fix a lot of issues with the right OCR. And again, I'm not saying this is a criticism to Shane Beamer. I hope if he hires the right offensive coordinator, I hope he stays out of the offense. It's his job to call timeouts. It's his job to be the boss. I get that, and I agree with that.
Or to say,
we're not doing this as a stupid.
End of the half situation. Let's go get points.
Yes.
Let's just eat clock. Some of this, or say, if you want to throw. If you want to run. But calling plays, obviously, you need to leave that to your play caller.
Yes, and I think if he hires the right guy, one, it's going to take off in the portal. Two, it's going to help with roster retention. And that's a big thing. Like we talked about this earlier, not to get redundant, but roster retention. This is a roster you want to have retention on.
Yes.
This is not the team that Will Muschamp walked into, and this is not the team that Shane Beamer walked into.
Precisely. You talked about what Shane Beamer needs to do in order to get back in the good graces and good faith of the fan base and the athletic department.
Yes.
Certainly, long term, hiring the right OC is, I think, priority number one for him. But in the short term, well, a win next week can do a lot for your public image in this town.
Just the perception of winning that game. John and I are not the people that say we could go 1-11 like we talked about earlier, and that be the one win. No, we want to compete in the SEC. Let's flat out say
we want to make the college football playoff.
We want to make the college football playoff. We don't expect it every year, and we're not LSU. We don't expect it every year, but at the same time, it drives me batty. The people that are so content with going 7-5 and once in a while winning 8-9 games like that's not good enough.
Just as long as you beat these people, I think more of those people are kind of the old breed, if you will, and I think having Steve Spurrier take Carolina to the heights he took Carolina to, he's taught us that there is a lot more out there than just winning the game against your in-state rival, and certainly we would have preferred to have a much better season than this, but given that there is no postseason to play for here, this is the time where you say, okay, especially now since it's the only game left on the season, this is the most important game, this is the biggest game, and again, if you win this game, and this is not something that I would say for Shane to go out and tell the players, but just something I would say overall. If you win this game, it will go a long way to make what will already be a long off season feel a lot easier to get through, because you want to have something to hang your hat on. Right now there's nothing. I'm sorry. Wins against Virginia Tech, SC State, Kentucky, and Coastal are nothing to hang your hat on, nothing that you can really look at to feel good about considering the type of season you've had. If we get this win, it will ease a lot of tension. It will, like I've said, Shane will still be on the hot seat next year. There will still be a lot of noise this offseason, a lot of skepticism, and it'll be a lot like it was going into the offseason 2 years ago. And what do you know? Carolina got it right that year. The only thing, again, that I think that made the difference in 2024 and 2025 was the play calling. But that being said, neither here nor there. The one way you can salvage a very mediocre and disappointing 2025 season is to go out this coming Saturday and get a win against your arch nemesis, your in-state rival, and a team that is now bowl eligible. Hey, good on them. Honestly, I thought it was going to be a battle between 4-7 teams, but hey, good on them. They did what they needed to do. They found a little rhythm there at the end. They've won 3 in a row now, I believe. I guess just looking ahead, what do you think are the ultimate challenges for Carolina in this ballgame?
We're facing a much better defense than we did this game tonight.
You're facing a much better team. There's no comparison.
But comparatively speaking to Texas A&M, no. This is a winnable game for the Gamecocks in all facets. I mean, last time I checked the line, it was upstate school, 1.5, and that's virtually a pick'em. And I told you this earlier tonight. I think this game, to me on paper, is virtually a pick'em. It's whoever has the best day that day is going to win the game. I think they're two evenly matched teams for the wrong reasons. We both are teams that came in with high expectations, and you can laugh thinking about it, but we thought that this was going to be a game where we're fighting for the college football playoffs each, or maybe we're both solidified. And you're talking about two quarterbacks that guys were saying, man, Sellers and Klubnik could go 1 and 2 in any order. And
it was a game. Sorry to interrupt you, but it was a game that, when you talked about it in the offseason, it looked like it could have been a game that could determine who is hosting and who's getting a bye week in the playoff.
It went from a game where I thought the tickets were going to be $1,200 to now you better be careful leaving your tickets on the dash because somebody might break in and put extra tickets on your dash.
It may not be quite that bad, but it's close.
It's still the Palmetto Bowl. We still care, and they still care, as we should.
Exactly.
We hate them, they hate us. That's the way it should be.
And that's the thing you gotta love. You love to have a villain, and we see each other as our top villains. And good or bad, you gotta love that about a good old-fashioned in-state rivalry.
You either die a hero or you live long enough to be a villain.
Yep. Well, I've lived for 36 and a half years. I can't remember them ever being a hero.
Yeah, I've lived for 34 and a quarter, and nothing about them is heroic to me. I mean, we could go on and on. It's not podcast friendly. Well, as soon as I take this mic off, I can say some choice words about that orange or purple school.
Yeah, there's a reason why we don't actually address them by their actual name. We address them as that upstate school. We do, from time to time, say their actual name, but there's always a word that comes right before that.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, it usually happens on the kickoffs.
Or we're covering Lee Bryce's song, and
Nah, I've quit doing that.
it's still funny that.
Oh, yeah. Nevertheless, though, obviously, it's a game that everybody in this state gets up for. One thing I love about this is that this is not a very big state. This is not a state that has a major league team. There's a small handful of single-A baseball teams and a minor league hockey team in Greenville, right?
Yes.
Okay. So that's the professional teams that are in this state. This state is ruled by college football and its two flagship institutions. And so one of the great things is that there is not a block in this state where somebody doesn't have any skin in the game. Every street in this state has a graduate from one of these two programs. And you have got to absolutely love that for a state that lives, eats, breathes, sleeps college football. This is what the game is about. You would love for the stakes to be a little bit higher, but nevertheless, if you talk to somebody from South Carolina, you might as well think this is the national championship because it is a very intense, very bloody at times, brutal, and very, what's another good choice word to use here to describe this rivalry? Just a very...
it's just larger than life.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's genuine. You gotta
is.
love that. It's not one of these manufactured ones like the Mayor's Cup. No offense to the rivalry with Missouri, but, I mean... yeah, that's one of those that I think television tried to really manufacture. You saw the jokes last week about the Bonham Trophy. I mean, again, another manufactured rivalry. This is genuine, and this is what you live for as a college football fan, to get on the stage with your arch nemesis and have a chance to go out there and beat them.
Every kid that grows up in this state and plays high school football, they have dreams of putting garnet and black on or orange and purple on. And sometimes...
And playing against the other team.
Absolutely. And you want to show out in that game. I mean, when you think about this rivalry, you think about DJ Swearinger breaking the ball up in warm-ups up there. And then him also flex and go to Rondre Ellington and plays like that. That just stick out, like Connor Shaw
over the middle to Alshon Jeffrey.
Connor Shaw running for 3rd and 11, getting the first down, which I could say that for about any game he played in.
Dylan Thompson on 3rd and 18.
And the guys, the trick pass, Farrah Cooper to the back of the end zone, man, what a play.
Or if you want to go back further in time, Brad Edwards, pick 6 off of Rodney Williams.
Or actually, that was Farrah to Brandon Wild, right?
Yes. Yeah. Or Mike Hold just holding the ball out and dropping it right in front of William Refrigerator Perry.
Danny Hill planting the flag up there, midfield.
Yep, and being able to beat Brian Dawkins up there twice. But, that reminds me also, over the years, especially since they started playing this back in, I believe, 1960, they started playing it they started doing home and homes with each other every year. Carolina has done better on the road for whatever reason. This is a great opportunity for Carolina and Shane Beamer to start up a little win streak here as well, but also get a win against these people at home.
The fun fact here is Shane Beamer has never won this rivalry game in Columbia. Dabo Sweeney has never won this rivalry game at Memorial Stadium. That's a pretty...
Wait. You mean since Shane Beamer's taken
Since Shane
over?
Beamer's been head coach, yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
I was about to say, what are you
yes.
talking about?
No. So that's what I'm saying. They're 2-2. Both of the coaches have won when they've been on the road both times. That's a weird but true stat. And actually, if you really think about it, because it's been kind of so 50-50, South Carolina has won 2 out of the last 3 games because 2 out of the last 3 games have been away.
Obviously, yes.
So we have the chance to win 3 out of the last 4, and I can't state how important that is from an optics standpoint.
Yes. Again, you mentioned it, an optics standpoint. No one needs a good optics standpoint right now than Shane Beamer. So, again, you get a win, and you get a lot of goodwill back with the fans. You get a lot of confidence back with the fans, and you just feel so much better going into the off season.
I want Shane Beamer to make the college football playoffs this year like he said he would.
Agreed.
I want that. I want John to be able to tell me that he told me so. I want that because I want what's best for this school. And if he's the best for our school, then let's support him. Let's hope he wins because that's where we should be. I mean, we're on football. I mean, I could talk about Paul Maneri not in a positive light. And I hope Paul Maneri goes to the College World Series this year. I'm a big fan of Lamont Paris. I hope we make the Final Four this year. Is it probably going to happen in either of those situations? Probably not. But
not with that attitude, we won't.
But what I meant to say is, of course, we're winning the College World Series this year.
And, of course, we're winning the college football playoff next year.
100%.
So, yeah.
Ohio State, you're on notice. Ryan Day, count your days. They're numbered. Okay, you heard it here first.
Are we really worried that much, though, about Ryan Day? I mean, really, the real test out there is Kurt Cignetti.
He's waiting. Ryan Day's waiting for Lou Holtz to get about 5 years older so he can go run up in the stands and beat him up.
Right. Oh gosh.
Let's
focus in on a little more local things, though. But again, a week from today, Palmetto Bowl, 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock in Columbia. I kind of like that it's at noon, by the way.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it every once in a while. I would love a night game, but I guess this year with them coming in 6-5 and us coming in 4-7, the stakes are a little lower this year. Like I said, they have really nothing to play for other than just humiliating us, and we have nothing to play for other than just ruining their season, which trust me, they've already done a good enough job of, and we've already done a good enough job on our end. So, it's just like I said, you hate to use the term like it's our Super Bowl but that does kind of encapsulate our season this year. It really is.
It's the last game of the year, and at this point now, it's the game that has the biggest stakes for Carolina. So, the thing you can hope for: go out there, get a win. By the way, before we sign off here, wanted to touch on 2 things. Got some really good friends that I want to give a couple of shout-outs to, or at least their product here. If you're in the heavy equipment business and you are into road building, the broom you want to go with to clean up and to get things swept off the road, go with Bros Brooms. Give the people at Dobbs Equipment a call. They'll have the Bros rep, John Morton, come out. They'll give you a demo on whatever type of broom you're looking for. And also, even though it's not until summertime, we're about 6 months away from summertime, but don't forget, one of the great things that happens here in the Midlands over in Casey at Steel Hands Brewing, every Friday night in the summer, Michael Haney, a good friend of ours, puts on Nashville Nights. If you've never been out there, do yourself a favor. Get out there next summer. Good live music, good drinks, good times with good friends. Something you wouldn't want to miss for anything.
Can verify Michael is a good dude, as genuine of a human being as it comes. Truly just from the few times I've met Michael, he's made me feel like a close friend of his, and just a good dude. Some great music, get you a nice cold beer or a drink of your choice, and they're good people over there at Steel Hands. I can vouch for that. They're not paying me a dime to say this. I go there all the time.
Absolutely. But we're at the 50-minute mark. That does it for the recap of Coastal. We will have a recap of the rivalry game next week. Looking forward to that. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody, and stay safe. Go Cox.
Happy Thanksgiving. Sean's down, by the way.